What up, this is David, and today I want to talk about YouTube strategy for coaches and why I am so bullish on YouTube and using this specific strategy, right? So today I want to talk about my story of how I made one video on one channel, and for many, many years, it created consistent passive sales for years. It's a crazy story, I'll get into it. And number two, how once you set things up on YouTube and do it properly, by the way, these coaching leads can come in on a very consistent basis and without going viral, all right? And number three, why I believe this is such a huge asset to have in your arsenal, and it's such a long-term strategy that appreciates with time. So let's start with my story here. It's a crazy story, and I should have done this a long time ago. I don't know why I did not, okay? But I'll kind of like show you like a graph versus like a trendy kind of YouTube strategy, and not just YouTube, but then like social media strategy versus more like a long-term stuff, right? So my story starts maybe like a long time ago, like 16 years ago or something. Okay, 16 years ago, I put out a video. Okay, I put out a video, and this was like a search-based video. Like it was a video. I won't say the exact keyword, but then it was a video that has like a searchable keyword in it. Okay, and I made one video for one channel, and I was promoting an affiliate offer. So I get promoted, or I get paid for promoting their offer, right? So I did this, and in the beginning, like if this was a graph here, in the beginning, I didn't really think much of it, and this was like a test kind of thing. So I just kind of like threw it out there with like a random like account, by the way. So in the beginning, it didn't really do much, but then eventually it started getting more and more traffic, right? And eventually, like sales started to come in. Okay, sales started to come in slowly but surely. And soon enough, like it took off. Okay, it took off, and then the crazy part is that traffic did not stop. I have to kind of like lengthen the graph here. That traffic did not stop, and maybe like went like this. Did not stop for 10 freaking years. Okay, 10 freaking years, and it probably would have kept going, but I lost access to the account. Like I said, it was like one of those test accounts, right? I lost access to the account, and secondly, the offer, like they stopped, the offer, like they stopped doing the offer, right? But the crazy thing is this: during that time, the sales kept coming in, month in and month out, like month in and month out, and some months it was so crazy that it was like, I was generating thousands of dollars from a video I made many years ago, and I didn't even touch it once. Like I didn't touch it. Like I lost access to the freaking account, right? And I lost access to it, so I couldn't even log on or anything. And eventually, like YouTube, like they shut down the account and like deleted the account. But then that was one of the most consistent and one of the most quote unquote passive like sales I have made in my entire freaking life. Just because I made that video with search intent, okay, search intent, and I was ranking, I think number one for that specific search term, okay, and it went on for 10 freaking years, and it would have went on longer had I not lost access to the account and if the offer was still online, right? So that brought about a big epiphany moment for me, because I was like, why didn't I 100x on this strategy, right? Because lately I have kind of been revisiting my old like business models and seeing what I did in the past and what worked and what didn't. And so for the past year and a half, I kind of reimagined what a coaching business could be like, and started from like the ground up, from first principles, and thought of like every single step, right? And I believe this is maybe one of the best strategies that we can use for our coaching business to market our coaching business. This YouTube search intent, based strategy, right? So in retrospect, looking at this, man, I should have like 100x on this strategy, right? Because it was freaking working and working for the long run. But then, of course, like it was a long time ago. I was like a freaking little kid. I was like a 20-year-old kid, and then I was chasing after shiny object syndrome and like didn't really think long term, right? But I believe this is a very viable long-term strategy. So I'll give you the difference between like a trendy strategy versus more of a long-term strategy. So the trendy strategy on social media basically kind of looks like this. The graph kind of looks like this. So we have an initial surge, but then we have a decline, right? It like quickly depreciates, right? So this becomes a depreciating asset because it like slows down over time. But then this other strategy like that I talked about, like at first it might not get much traction, but eventually it'll pick up and it'll pick up and it'll pick up. And then once you start to rank this and people, and assuming that this is a searchable term, right? Search. It's a search intent based term because when somebody has search intent, it's a much, much higher quality of crowd and like a warmer audience than somebody who's being interrupted by social media, right? So we have like Instagram and like Facebook and YouTube shorts in a sense. They're like interruption based, right? So they're not really searching for it. But again, like both strategies has their place. Okay, I think we can combine the two and we can mix the two strategies together. But the other strategy is a search intent base. And when somebody searches for something, they have such a higher likelihood of converting. So I'll give you an example, right? So if somebody is searching for like plumbers in Los Angeles, then that search intent is so high that there's a high likelihood that they're going to convert to hire a plumber, right? Because they are searching for it, right? So that brings about such a warmer audience, okay, warmer target. And so, like what happens over time with this strategy is it appreciates over time, right? So this is an appreciating strategy. And guess what? This becomes an asset, right? This becomes a freaking asset in our arsenal and has the potential to bring in like consistent traffic, consistent leads, right, over time. And imagine this. Imagine not only did we do that once, we kept doing it. So we're like stacking assets and stacking like this traffic and like trickling in the leads over time and just getting better and better because we're stacking the assets, right? So I believe that's why I'm so damn bullish on this freaking strategy, right? So yeah, it's a non-viral strategy, so we don't have to freaking go viral with it, but it's an appreciating strategy, right? And the thing is, like, we can combine the two. There's no rule against saying like we can combine both of these strategies because I do believe this strategy has its time and place, okay? So can you see how you can get a lot of consistent leads, a lot of consistent clients with this strategy, right? With this properly executing the strategy. So let's talk about Instagram versus YouTube. And like I mentioned before, right? Instagram, it's more like interruption-based marketing, interruption-based ads. Because when somebody is scrolling down their Instagram feed, we have to like interrupt them, right? Interrupt them with our ads. And we got to put a lot of emphasis on like the hook and stuff. But YouTube, by the way, is the second largest search platform, second to Google. YouTube can also be like interruption based, but if we optimize for like search based, that can be even better because people are intent with that. Searching with intent leads to a much warmer person than somebody who's being interrupted. And so they did a study on like the half-life of these two platforms here, right? And they found out that on Instagram, the half-life is about 19 hours. And half-life just means that it drops to about 50% engagement. So 50% engagement and 50% like views. So that's what half-life means. And they found out it was about 19 hours. But then on YouTube, it's about 9 days, right? So it takes a lot longer for the engagement to drop. And here's the thing, that's only for graph number 1, right? So for graph number 2, like I don't even know if the half-life is affected because it just consistently goes up over time, assuming that it's an evergreen, searchable keyword, right? So that's what they found out, right? And on IG, by the way, it's like you got to create a lot more content because, we want to aim for consumption time, right? And it's like 1/20th of the consumption time. Of course, it's less qualified people, and we want to build a lot of consumption time because we want to build trust. Consumption equals trust equals conversions, right? We want to build that time up, and it's a lot harder to do on IG versus on YouTube where you can make a long form content like this one, right? So those are the difference between those two. And the way I see it, the two different strategies is like searchable strategy and like trendy strategy. One ages like fine wine, and one ages like fine wine. It gets better with time, right? As I showed you in the graph, it gets better with time. And one, the trendy strategy, it ages like beer, right? Like it tastes good at first, but then the taste gets worse and worse over time, right? So I believe it's good if we embrace both of these strategies, and we can do that, okay? And it becomes long-term assets that we keep, and I just like to call it shadow army, right? Shadow army marketing, because it's a shadow version of yourself, right? It's a digital version of yourself, and then you're just like stacking up your army. Your army gets stronger and stronger over time, right? So this becomes the shadow army marketing assets. So let's go over the differences between YouTube strategy and a Google strategy. So the thing is, like, both are search intent based, right? So both can be used very well, right, to get clients. But here's the thing. Here's why I am very bullish on YouTube and maybe not so bullish on Google. So on YouTube, on Google, anybody can enter the scene. Like anybody behind their screen, anybody behind the computer screen, like they can just write an article and just index it on Google, right? And then people can use AI freaking content, right? And AI assisted content to just rank their stuff on Google. So it's like there's no moat. There's no barrier to entry. So it becomes easy to do, and it becomes like this big like red ocean, right? Red ocean full of sharks, right? It's full of sharks, shark infested waters, there's competition everywhere. But for YouTube, it's different because YouTube, not a lot of people are willing to get in front of a camera, right? They're not willing to get in front of a camera. So you have a blue ocean, dude. You have a blue ocean because it takes a lot more effort, it's a lot more energy, to even put yourself in front of a screen and just start talking, right? So it's a lot less competition, okay? But then, assuming that you are an established coach, you are used to this stuff, right? You are used to maybe talking in front of a camera or like talking to your audience or talking to your clients, right? So it's easy for us, but it's hard for everybody else, right? So we have this moat, right? We have a blue ocean here, okay? That's why I believe YouTube, that's why I'm very bullish on the whole YouTube idea, right? And not only that, but then it also creates your personal brand at the same time, right? And because you're putting your face out there, you're creating, brand image. And not only that, but YouTube is almost anti-AI slop, because on Google, like Google is using AI. So like that section on top of Google, like nowadays they're using AI for like the top of the search results, right? And so they're embracing the idea of AI, right? And like the people down here might take a little hit, right? But then on YouTube, on YouTube, they're not doing that. Like, the search results on YouTube, they're like legit videos from like, you know, authentic people. And now they're almost like anti AI, because at first they allowed like a bunch of like these AI videos to, you know, be posted online, but then now it's like they're restricting that because they don't want like AI slot videos, right? So they're like very restrictive on AI generated videos. So it's good for us, right? This is good for us. That means it's telling us that, hey, like we can actually, you know, rank on the freaking, you know, YouTube search by expressing ourselves, by showing our services, by, you know, demonstrating, like I say a lot, demonstrating our coaching services, right? So that's why I'm also bullish on YouTube. And the best part is with YouTube, you have a chance to rank both on YouTube and Google, right? You have a chance to rank on both, right? Just because you created a video, but you can't do it with, you know, vice versa. So, you know, like sometimes you search something on Google and then you like, you know, one of the top results will be like videos, right? So we have a chance to do that, and there's a strategy to make that work as well. So we get best of both worlds by, you know, embracing this strategy for, you know, like YouTube first, and then as a natural byproduct, we can maybe rank on Google as well. Oh yeah, and some people say like, hey, like search is dead. Like search is dead because of like AI, right? Because like ChatGPT and like Claude and all that stuff. Dude, if you've been around the space for a long time, they've been saying search is dead for like 20 years, okay? It's one of those things that never realizes itself. And if you see the actual like data, the actual graph, like Google search is like, has been trending forever pretty much. It's like, it doesn't stop. Like it's break records every year, like on how many searches there are on Google. So people say search is dead. It is not dead. It might like, okay, AI can take away some of the market, maybe some, you know, with like ChatGPT and stuff like that. But search is definitely still relevant. And not only that, but then like I said, right, YouTube is a little different, right? YouTube is like more like, they're like anti-AI, like getting rid of the AI slop, and, you know, having people actually, having real videos actually rank, right? So it's a different thing, right? So no need to worry, like it's not going anywhere. Search is not going anywhere. All right, so now let's talk about Skool. And I am also bullish on Skool, and Skool also embraces SEO, by the way. So this was a recent Sam Ovens during his Skool games, but he found out, or I don't think he found out, but then he knew that 70% of people that discover, you know, other people's communities, they come from search, right? Most of the people, they come from search on the discovery page, right? People are searching. And he also noticed it too, right? Search has a much higher conversion rate than people who like randomly stumble onto your community. Yeah, because like I said before, search has an intent, right? And because people have an intent, like that, the conversion rate is just so much higher. And the thing about Skool, in my opinion, in my experience, like the quality is just so much higher. Like maybe it's because people are just used to the idea of paying for like, you know, education, but the quality of people are just so much higher on Skool. So I think this is a great strategy when you can combine, you know, both Skool and YouTube, right? Both I believe has their own merits, and both I believe can be long-term strategies. So now we can like, you know, start ranking on Skool discovery as well. And so I definitely want to emphasize this, but no matter what strategy you use, you always want to collect emails, man. That's the real asset. Okay, you always want to collect emails. Like I gave you the example with my old YouTube channel, right? Like I lost access to it. I didn't remember the password. So guess what? Like I don't have, that's not an asset, right? Because like I don't have control over it. But then if I collected emails, that would have been an asset that I owned, right? And that I controlled. So you have to collect emails because this stuff can happen. Like you might get your account shut down, okay? So you have to collect emails. And I want to emphasize that we're not trying to become like a content machine or a slave to the algorithm, right? I believe that's not a good way to go about it because I've tried the whole thing before. I tried like posting once a day, posting a YouTube video a day, you know, I think for like 100 days or something. And not only did I hate it, not only was it super forced, but the quality was crap. And now I got no traction from it anyways. Okay, I got no traction from it anyway. So it's not about 75 hard. I like to call it 300-day easy, right? And then we can take breaks from time to time, right? So we have like 65 days of break or rest, or take a couple weeks off or whatever, right? And if you do it the right way, by the way, remember like the graph I showed you, like because we are doing this and we're trying to like stack these assets, like we can take a break every once in a while, right? Because we have these marketing assets, marketing engines, the shadow army going to work for you, right? So it becomes not 75 hard, but it becomes 300-day easy. And you want to put out quality content, right? Put out good quality content out there because that helps raise your reputation and your brand. Okay, not just freaking like creating content for the sake of creating content, but creating content for the sake of helping people. And like the content should have a purpose, right? The content should have a purpose. You're like helping people or like helping bring awareness to people, helping them realize epiphanies, sharing strategies or whatever. So if you want a lesson guide, it's like a visual lesson guide that goes together with this video, then you can comment below YouTube for coaches and I'll send you a link to the lesson guide that goes along with this. So you can get like the summary of everything and you can kind of like visually see, you know, the strategy for this, you know, long-term asset building thing. Then comment down below with the word YouTube for coaches and I'll send you the link. And the link is to a free Skool community because the lesson guide is inside the free Skool community. It also includes a free Skool community and like a free course and a bunch of other like free stuff. So you can comment down below with YouTube for coaches. So if you found this content useful, then I would appreciate a like. And if you are an established online coach and want to learn more about this marketing, feel-good marketing stuff so you can get more leads, get more clients, get more profits, and get more freedom for your coaching business, then you can subscribe to the channel here. And if you want to binge on more content that can help you market your coaching business, then you can watch another video right here. I'll put it somewhere here. Okay, so that's it from me and I'll talk soon.